Let's talk about sociolinguistics. By definition, sociolinguistics is the study of language in relation to social factors, including but not limited to class, region, dialect, occupation, gender differences, sexuality, bilingualism, and so on. So it's pretty big. And so it's looking at how do our social factors affect the way in which we speak. And in this video, I really can't offer you much in terms of things you quote should do or that you can change or modify. Really, I can offer you things to consider because who you are is different than who I am. I am a white woman, a heterosexual woman from Maryland living in the South. I have a different set of social factors than maybe what you do. You might not be a woman, you might not be white, you might not be straight. You could be living in a different part of the country or living in a different part of the world. English might not be your first language. So I can't really tell you what you can and cannot do in your classes in terms of sociolinguistics because it's for you to decide. And I think what's the most important is that sociolinguistics isn't saying that we necessarily have to change anything. Maybe you might find at the end of this discussion that there are some social factors at play that affect the way you speak to some people, but that's for you to decide. But what I want to start with before we get into some things to consider is a quote by, I hope I'm saying the name right, Indira Younghair. I might be saying that wrong. It's definitely like the white woman living in North Carolina from Maryland coming out. So if I'm saying that wrong and you know how to say it correctly, please message me and let me know. But anyway, in this quote, and I will have a link to this article in this module, it says, the diversity of languages produces diverse individuals of unique abilities. And I really like that because we're talking a lot in this course about things we can refine, ways that we can change. And again, maybe you'll find that at the end of this discussion, but more than that, what I hope you also find is that you are a unique individual with a unique set of circumstances and a whole cultural background that produces diverse abilities, and that should really be honored. So what I'd like for us to do then is just look at some of the things that sociolinguistics considers, and then I'll have you consider them for yourself. Again, can't really tell you what the answers are because we're different people, and I want you to honor who you are as an individual in your time, in your place in the world. Okay, enough. So, sociolinguistics, it really underscores how language reflects the relationship with self and others. It's how do we speak in relationship to our social factors, and not only how do we necessarily just speak on the day-to-day, but how do we speak to others based upon their social factors too. Sociolinguistics underscores that language reflects social position, it reflects cultural norms and values, it reflects who we are in terms of gender, sexuality, religion, race, ethnicity, dialect, the whole 9 yards. So whatever it is socially that we identify with will change and affect the way that we speak. Also, sociolinguistics examines social rules and patterns for language and discourse. It asks then, how do we talk to people who are, quote, like us or, quote, different than us? So one way to think about this is in our yoga classes, how do we talk to men? Is it different than how we talk to women? How do we talk to beginners? How is it different than how we talk to advanced yogis? How do we talk to people in our classes who are maybe of a different race or a different background? So sociolinguistics, it's really complex, but it's the study of how do social factors influence the way we speak. And so rather than me telling you a whole lot more, I have a worksheet for you to look at with some questions to consider. And these aren't really things for you to answer once and then just move on with for the rest of your life. Oh, done. Check. Mark that off. These are things for you to consider as you move day to day through the next week, through the next year, through the next few years, and interact with more and diverse people. Once you finish this video, you can look at the questions, and I hope that you consider them in a broad context. Not a time for you to judge yourself. It's just a time for you to think about how do you speak in relationship to your social factors and the social factors of those in which you are teaching.